Welcome back to NFL Kings. Thank you all for joining us today as we break down the Week 13 matchups for the NFL season. The Week 13 matchups are a little bit of a lot of favorites, a lot of potential blowouts. So, not going to spend a lot of time this week. We're going to do all the games on one quick video. Just going to give you our picks and do a quick breakdown and analysis of why we like those picks. So, just kind of leaning toward this, starting out on the Saints Falcons game. Numbers definitely favor New Orleans, although we do kind of lean toward the Falcons, which is one of the reasons why I would say stay away on the pick of this game. We lean toward more the over. If you get it around 40 points, that's a pretty decent over to be able to hit in a game like this. However, I wouldn't rate that as a best bet. This is mostly a stay away game. Waiting to hear about injuries to Julio as well. That is a huge one. Obviously, not having Davenport for the Saints could be a factor as well, but their overall defensive front four is really going to be probably the best overall unit in this entire game, and going to pretty much dictate as to who wins as to if they can get pressure on Matt Ryan. That's more or less going to dictate who wins this game outside of turnovers and can the Falcons defense stop Taysom Hill in that offense? I mean, I expect them to slow him down a little bit, but not completely stop him. I don't expect them to hit the 29.5, though, probably closer to 28 or maybe even 24. And this will obviously be a little bit lower, too, going against this defense at top 5 in the league. So you're talking, really good defense versus that. So that's one of the reasons why more of a stay away and potential under for us, just because of the quarterback play. We don't expect either team to hit their points per game projections. Moving on quickly, we're going to go to the Detroit Chicago game, another pretty ugly football game. Two bad teams. Got a good defense for the Chicago Bears. Horrible, probably the worst defense for the Lions. A little bit better offense, but they're missing Galladay and Swift, so that's going to play huge factors in the game, not allowing them to score enough points against this defense, which could be missing Khalil Mack, which is another big factor, and will likely be without Allen Robinson as well. So that's unfortunate for the Bears. One of the reasons why we're huge on the under in this game, and obviously we do like Chicago to win, but at the same time, this is another stay away for us. We do recommend only betting the under on this game. That's kind of where we're leaning. Just some bad offensive play is kind of really where I kind of expect this game to be, even though Detroit's defense is just so bad. It's just Chicago's offense is worse. Don't have time, unfortunately, because we had some issues this week. Not going to be able to run through all the numbers of every one of these games. Just have to do a quick breakdown. So that's where we are. There's nothing really kind of tying us to this game. I would definitely recommend as more of a stay away game. Another game I really like, this Cleveland Tennessee game, which should finish within a touchdown. So if you have a touchdown on either side, do like that bet for Cleveland plus a touchdown, Tennessee Moneyline, and the under of 60.5 and under of 53.5, which is just the under for this particular game, is one of our best bets of the day. Is this game with two of the top 5 running offenses, both controlling the clock, taking a lot of time on the clock, off the clock when they run the ball, just gonna make it very difficult for a 50-plus point game to happen. It's just not going to be enough possessions. The only way the over hits is if there are some major turnovers in this game. That's pretty much the only way, and or like multiple 50-plus yard runs. These teams just don't throw the ball enough. I mean, you're talking about 194 and 227 for passing yards per game. These are some of the worst passing offenses in the league, and it shows in the way they play, but they are extremely good at running the ball. Number 1, number 3 rushing yards per game. They're just extremely good at running the ball, and going against You would say that the Browns have a little bit better rush defense than the Titans, which is one of the reasons why I almost like the Browns to potentially win this game. I do like the Browns plus a touchdown a little bit more than I like Tennessee money line, so that's kind of where I would lean just a little bit more. However, the third down conversion percentage is a little scary. Titans being top 10. They're being 21 and 24, but I mean, obviously the worst in the league on third down defense is Tennessee because they don't get any pass rush. They have no pressure, 30th in sack percentage, 14th here, but that number is even higher really because if you think about it, a few of those games were without Myles Garrett. With Myles Garrett, they're just a completely different defense, and that's the defense that's going to show up this week. So pretty scary stuff for some of those tackles for the Titans. I almost like the Browns to potentially win this game. So a little bit more of a stay away there. I would honestly, the best bet is the under of the 60.5. Probably the best bet of the day for any bet is going to be that under of 60.5. You pair that with, a couple favorites like the Raiders, like the Seahawks, like Minnesota, like Miami here, which we'll talk about right now. That's kind of where I would lean as far as some of our best bets of the week. Don't have a lot of time, as well as I said. We have to kind of run through all these games, and there's not a lot of great games. I don't want to spend a lot of time on a backup quarterback for the Bengals going against a Dolphins team. The only way the Dolphins lose this game is if Tua turns the ball over too much, because that's pretty much it. They should win turnover margin against this team. They're the worst defense, and basically the 30th ranked defense in football is the Cincinnati defense playing with a backup quarterback. Hard to believe that going against a really solid Miami defense that they're not going to be turning the ball over, which creates a lot of turnovers. Number 2 in takeaways, I expect quite a few considering you're going against a team that gives the ball away a lot at 26th in the league in giveaways. So that's kind of where the lean, and that's all with a starting quarterback. With a backup quarterback, I'm definitely going to be leaning toward the under in this game. Just not a lot of points being scored with that backup quarterback and with Tua. So just in general, I mean, if Fitzpatrick plays, I may not play the under here. If Tua plays, I'm 100% playing the under, both at 42.5 and at 50.5. So just something to keep in mind. Really do like Miami, both at the money line and -2.5 as well. So just some things to kind of consider. There needs to be a minus. They're not getting 2.5 points. All right, so gonna quickly move on. Another game that should be well in favor of Minnesota going against a pretty bad run defense, 136.2, and just how good they are running the ball. That's just too big of a factor to overlook. You combine that with them playing still Mike Glennon, and defense is basically one of the worst 5 in the league. It's gonna come down to Minnesota. Really would have to lay an egg, and obviously that could happen. Don't get me wrong, they've done that a few times this year, but they would literally have to lay an egg in this game for that to happen. There's a reason why they only give them about 17% chance to win. They just don't have a lot of talent right now on that Jag side. There's some decent talent along the offensive line and the wide receiver position, but their defense is really hurting right now and not healthy. I just don't see how they're going to stop Dalvin Cook, who's going to probably run for 200 yards in this game. So don't want to spend a lot of time here. Another one, maybe under 60.5, just because I don't think there's going to be enough points scored from the Jags side, and Minnesota having to run the ball so much just kind of really eats at that clock and makes it really hard for them to hit overs. So definitely like anything under 60 points that is definitely hitting as well. Quickly going to move on to the Raiders, which we really like. Las Vegas this week. The Jet, coming off. Obviously, if the Raiders won last week, I wouldn't like them nearly as much as I like them this week. They're poised for a huge bounce back week. You combine the fact that they're going obviously against the Jets with how bad they played last week, there's just no way that they're going to have another horrible performance like that. I mean, they had 5 turnovers in that game, and they still almost won that game. Or not almost won that game. They still were kind of in that game for a lot of that game. That's crazy to me because the game was horrible. They played so bad. I've never seen a team play as bad as the Raiders played in that game. And just with the lack of pressure percentage that the Jets get, it's going to be really tough. 26th in the league in sack percentage, for them to be able to get pressure in a top 10 offensive line and giving up sacks. They just don't give up sacks for the Raiders. So that's really how you beat Carrs. You kind of pressure Carr, and then you got a shot, especially if you can stop the run, which they're actually pretty decent at stopping the run. So like that's why, it could play a factor if Carr doesn't have a good game. Maybe the Jets could kind of keep it close. I just don't see that happening. Really like the Raiders this week. That's probably one of our best bets of the week. It's just don't get too enamored. I wouldn't overdo it with this bet, just because this could be one of the last games where the Jets actually might be able to win a game. And it's pretty demoralizing for a team to not have a win. So like that could also play a factor. But when you only score 13 points a game, it's really hard to win games when you score 2 touchdowns or less. And that's kind of where I see this game lying, in that 2 touchdown range for them. It's going to be so hard. Maybe this game they get 3, because the Raiders defense is not that great. So, right, maybe they get 3, but are they really stopping the Raiders from scoring 4 touchdowns in that 28-point, 31-point range? I mean, that's kind of where I expect them to be. That's usually where they're at in most games, barring some weird things happening. So, and Jets just don't have anybody to stop Ruggs either. That's scary to think about. They're going to probably give up a couple big plays on defense. They don't have really the players to match up with the tight end either, who's going to have a huge day. So, that's kind of where we lean. Coaching as well is just a huge factor. There's no way that I see John Gruden letting them lose to the Jets in a game as well. So have to really go Raiders there. And quickly here, I can't spend a lot of time here. Indy should win this game, but there are ways for the Texans to win. Obviously, there's a reason why the Texans are technically a favorite right here, which is scary to think about. But that without Will Fuller, without Radley Roby, there's just no way I could put money on the Texans. And without Costanzo, there's no way I could put money on the Colts. So it's that same kind of thing. It's like, okay, you got both sides kind of hurting a little bit. Both sides not playing the best right now. I'd say Indy's playing a little bit better overall just as a team, but you're fading Deshaun Watson, who's playing the best football of his career right now, which is so scary. It's just, is he going to be able to spread the ball around enough and kind of get the ball to some of these other receivers? I don't know, man. They don't have a lot of weapons left without Fuller. They're definitely going to be in trouble. I would lean Colts, but this is another stay away. It's just too many factors for the Texans to potentially win that game. And honestly, the Texans played the best defensive game of their season last week too, so that's another huge scariness. And obviously, the Colts defense just gave up like 200 yards to Derrick Henry last week, so that's super scary. Quickly on this Rams game, don't have a lot of time. The Rams should win this game. With a hurting Kyler Murray, we definitely like the Rams. That Rams defense just going against that Arizona offense it's gonna be tough sledding for that Arizona offense. I really, really like the under on DeAndre Hopkins this week going against. It's basically the best corner in the league, and Jalen Ramsey, who's pretty much shut down everybody. I don't know a single receiver that's hit his prop going against him this season. I'm pretty sure he's kept every single receiver under their prop. Just done a really good job all season, the way they match him up. It's just a really bad matchup for Arizona. I feel like they really match up well, able to get pressure on Kyler Murray. They have essentially the best defensive line in football right now. It's going to be tough sledding. Top 3 in pass defense, top 4 in run defense. They don't give up much on third down. It's a lot of tough sledding gonna happen. It's gonna come down to Kyler kind of he's gonna have to make some plays with his feet, pure and simple, for them to have any chance in this game. And I expect Kirk to have a lot of targets this game, probably maybe 10 targets in this game, and his over might hit actually just because of that. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough sledding all day for them. It's really just going to come down to whether or not they can get percentage on Goff. If they get pressure on Goff, then I would definitely take the Cardinals, but there's just no way I could do that. Under could also be in play here as well, but I definitely lean toward the Rams winning this game. but there's no way I could legitimately put money on that game. And gotta quickly move to the last few. These are mostly just blowouts. I don't want to spend a lot of time. Why we have Seattle, they basically have a 13% chance to win for the Giants. This is one of my best bets of the day. Obviously, the Giants have a good defense, and that's one of the reasons why. I shouldn't say a good defense, a solid defense. That's one of the reasons why they've been able to stay in games and cover a lot of spreads. They've been kind of a feisty team. That's why I wouldn't take Seattle for more than a touchdown. There's no way I could give up more than a touchdown. They're just too easily backdoored with that defense. And you got the Seattle Moneyline. Also really like the under in this game as well. Just the Giants aren't going to score enough points. And you got the Seahawks defense playing significantly better each and every week. Obviously, the Giants defense is pretty solid, and I expect them to keep Russell Wilson under their 32-point average. And that's another kind of big factor here is neither of these defenses are great on third down, or offenses are neither great on third down either. May not have a lot of sustained drives in this game. Might be more punts and some big plays and things like that. But can anybody honestly think that the Colt McCoy-led Giants are going to beat the Seahawks? Yeah, I don't think so. Got to move on there. Green Bay, same thing. Basically, almost identical kind of matchup. When you got the Eagles, however, it's like, I'd say 6.5 is really probably where that line should be. That's where I would bet it. The fact that it's moved to 9 is super scary, but there's no way I could bet the Eagles. The only way they hit that is on a backdoor cover, just because I don't see them stopping this Packers offense at all, like ever. I'm not really sure how they're going to stop this Packers offense. Their pass defense is pretty good, and they're really good in sack percentage, but now you're going against a team that doesn't give up sacks. They're top 3. They don't get pressure very often, so I don't know how much pressure they're going to be able to get, especially when they're going to be run on. I expect a huge day from Aaron Jones in this game. I think that's where they're going to target, is in the running game. I think they're going to control the clock and just completely dominate this game. I have from pretty much start to finish going Packers. I wouldn't want to bet too much anything outside of the Green Bay 2.5 though, and the Green Bay money line are my two favorite there. Gotta quickly move on. Another stay away game here with that Patriots Chargers. It's just obviously you'd like to take the Patriots and their coaching staff over the Chargers coaching staff as well, but missing a few offensive linemen could be a factor that is just a little bit scary for me for the Patriots. But they should still be able to run the ball pretty effectively on this defense, which gives up decent amount at 120 a game. 18th in the league. Nothing to sneeze home about. But they're missing Perryman. They're missing Ingram. You don't have those two players. All of a sudden, that front looks a little bit less scary. Obviously, Bosa's back too, though, so that's could play a factor. But the fact is, without Ingram, without Perryman especially, their best run defender, run defense linebacker or whatever. So yeah, I definitely like New England to win this game with that. They should be able to run the ball pretty effectively, which should keep them off the field, as well as Bill Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks being what it is. I definitely would love to take Patriots with a touchdown. I feel really good about New England plus like 8. That's one of the 7.5, 8. You get it with a teaser. That could be one of the best bets of the day. Betting for them to win straight up in an ugly game, maybe, but that's just going to be a really ugly football game. This is one of the scariest games of the weekend and could be where the Steelers actually lose, and it's really weird to think about, but you're talking about like a number 1 versus number 2 defense, essentially, the way I kind of rank it, and it's like top 5 versus top 5 defense is really where I should say, because teams like the Rams and a few other teams with pretty darn good defenses have something to say about it. But the Steelers, obviously, they have it around 75% chance to win, which is probably about right. They beat them in pretty much every statistical category except for the defensive side of the ball. They're pretty much even. It's just a matter of, can Alex Smith score enough points in this game? I don't know. That's kind of a big question. I don't see him scoring above 21. And if they can't hold him under 24 or 28, a little bit scary. I do like them to win, but you get enough points with Washington, you may have to take Washington in this game. I would definitely take it for under a touchdown at least. I feel a lot more comfortable for under a field goal. I really think that's going to be that kind of close game. Under 50 is 100%. I am all over the unders in this game. All over the unders in this game. That's probably one of my best bets of the week. It's just a really, especially under 50. I mean, there's just too good of defenses. Offense is kind of struggling a little bit, just in general. But like quarterback play from both teams hasn't been great, really. Here we go. All right, so we got last couple games, just really quickly. Buffalo and San Francisco, one of the better games of the weekend. Numbers actually slightly favor San Francisco, and it's a little bit surprising when you first look at it, but not too overwhelmingly shocking. Mostly because the Bills' defense is just not that good. And San Francisco should be able to move the ball and control the clock, which is scary to think about, because that's going to allow them to protect their defense and allows their defense to play at a high level. And going against Buffalo, they're going to have to play at a high level. Considering they're essentially number 2 on third down, going against a team San Francisco that's number 7 on third down defense. So like that's going against two teams that are bad on third down in the other opposite way. So like that matchup should even out essentially. Like these are two evenly matched football teams. Should be the closest game of the weekend. If you get a touchdown on either side, this is probably one of the best bets as well. This game should be within a touchdown. I'd be shocked if this game is not a one-possession game. So that could definitely be something to keep in mind as well. But for the most part, it is going to be a stay away on either side. There's no way we could justify a pick from either side. There's just not enough variance from either side, advantage-wise, especially with that San Francisco secondary getting healthy finally. And last one is just that Ravens game. Yeah, Ravens, nothing crazy. I do like the Ravens to win this game. Obviously, without Zach Martin, they basically have no starting offensive lineman from when they started the season, which is kind of crazy to think about for the Cowboys. But yeah, I just don't see how they win this game. They're really hurting overall. Ravens are going to be able to run it down their throat. The 32 ranked rush defense at 156.4 a game. I mean, I don't see how they stop the Ravens offense. This is just a great matchup for the Ravens offense, going against this putrid rush defense, combined with that without a starting offensive line. Baltimore's going to get pressure. They're going to be able to, they played well. Baltimore's defense is pretty much the only reason why they were in that game against the Steelers, and I kind of expect it to be very similar in that respect, keeping me in the game no matter what, even if for whatever reason Lamar no, mind you, if Lamar can't play, like obviously everything changes in this game, but we're assuming Lamar is going to play, and he is projected to play. So those are our picks for the week. We definitely lean toward the favorites. There are about 6 of them that are large favorites this week that all should win by at least 2.5. So those are some teasers you can drop down a little bit. I would definitely recommend taking every single one of them under a touchdown at least. Taking them directly along the spread is just not smart. You're basically, and I get it, you have to pay for odds for it, or pay for points for it, but you're just giving yourself a huge disadvantage. And I get it, you may want to take the Cowboys in that scenario, but like if you're really going to sweat like the bad teams and take the points this week, I don't see that being the case. These teams should all win, and I lean toward more blowouts than anything. But there is small chances for some of these teams to compete, not necessarily win. I'd say a couple of them can compete. A couple of them could potentially win, like the Eagles could potentially win if they play the right game plan. Jags could potentially win if they play the right game plan. I don't know how Cincinnati wins. I don't know how the Jets win. I don't think there's any way the Giants win. That's probably the biggest lock of the weekend is Seattle. And Yeah, those are probably the biggest ones right there. I also don't see how the Miami Cincy hits the over in either with Cleveland and Tennessee. So those two unders are big time plays as well for us. So thank you all for watching NFL Kings Week 13 breakdowns. And next week we'll have a little bit more in-depth dive. This week there's just so many blowouts, not a lot of great games, not a lot to really look at. So. But next week we'll do a lot deeper dive into each and every game. And thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to listen for more content. We're going to be uploading each and every week. So thank you all for watching the Week 13 breakdowns of NFL Kings, and I'll catch you guys next time.